Hey everybody, it's Duncan KH Fan here, doing a little bit of a discussion video. This is, of course, about the whole entire Slayer situation that has been happening over the last week. For those who may or may not know, yesterday it was actually last night it was announced that former drummer Paul Bostaph has returned full time to play drums for Slayer. Now, the funny thing about this whole situation is that, obviously this happened after Jeff Hanneman's funeral, which took place last week. I saw clips of it. It was cool. It was awesome. Saw photos of everybody that went. Dave Lombardo actually did go to the funeral. And to think after the funeral that they would have patched things up with Lombardo and the rest of the band. But it's just seriously fucked how this whole situation is right now. I just recently found out through a picture that someone took on Twitter, and it was Dave Lombardo's reaction to him officially being out of Slayer. He just said, "And there you have it, folks." And then I just saw another picture. Actually, before I get to that, the Metal Injection posted. Actually, multiple metal sites have posted his reaction about it and how fans were tweeting to him and saying how it's totally bullshit, how he's not coming back to Slayer, which I think it is. And then here comes the fucked up part. Someone asked Lombardo on Twitter about whether he was actually told by the band that he was no longer going to be on, or they found out online. Lombardo found out online that he was no longer in Slayer. I just think it's a freaking I think it's just a pussy way out of not telling someone that you're no longer in a band. Like, I think Kerry King is just being a fucking douchebag on purpose to Dave Lombardo. I mean, Dave Lombardo made a little financial debate with him and thought that it wasn't right that they weren't getting paid enough, and then Lombardo just gave him the boot. Not Lombardo, Kerry King gave him the boot. I think it's totally fucked up on Kerry King's part because honestly, I've lost so much respect for that man. I mean, I've always loved Slayer. I always will. I don't know what to think right now, and I know Gary Holt's going to be filling in on guitar still since Jeff Hanneman is no longer around, sadly. Um, but this whole entire situation is just completely fucked. Like, I just don't know what was going through Kerry King's mind and saying, "Oh, I'm just going to hire Paul Bostaph to be our full-time drummer and not tell Lombardo about it at all." Are you fucking kidding me, Kerry King? Are you fucking kidding me right now? It's basically Slayer basically is the Kerry King show right now. It has been for years actually. He's the one who runs everything, and it's stupid how he fucking runs the band. I mean, I think Tom Araya would do a better job at running the band, but Kerry King just does all the work and takes pretty much all the credit for it, except for when it comes to writing music, because he didn't write nearly as much as what Jeff Hanneman wrote. But that's not the case at all. Lombardo, I'm sure he's really pissed off about this whole situation, but it's whatever. I mean, I think it's a cowardly move on Kerry King's part to not tell Dave Lombardo himself that he's no longer in the band. If he actually went up to Lombardo and say, "You're no longer in the band," I would have been somewhat fine with that. I mean, obviously, me being a drummer myself and being a huge Dave Lombardo fan, and him being my biggest inspiration to play fast metal drumming is just it's completely fucked how Kerry King is making this situation that much worse. I've lost so much respect for that man, and I kind of hope he sees this because I think he's a real fucking douchebag for pulling this move. I mean, I'm not completely opposed to having Paul Bostaph as the drummer, but the way that it all happened is just completely fucked beyond belief. I mean, Slayer is just slowly falling apart, in my opinion. I thought I just think that Kerry King's trying to squeeze the last bit of life out of Slayer before they're done. Um, I honestly don't think they should carry on because damn it, my fucking Facebook. I just don't think it's right to do this. I mean, like I said earlier in the video, I thought they would patch things up with Dave considering he went to the funeral to say his last goodbyes to one of his best friends ever, Jeff Hanneman, rest in peace. And just, I don't know what was going through Kerry King's mind about this. I really don't. I just think he's a total fucking idiot for not being a man and telling Lombardo himself that Lombardo is no longer in the band. It's just completely fucked beyond belief. So I'm just gonna say that Kerry King's a bit of a coward on his part. I don't know what Slayer's gonna be like with Paul Bostaff back. Hopefully he doesn't butcher the songs like he did back when he was in the band originally. I mean, he didn't completely, like when it came to the double bass, he kind of butchered it, but that's not the case. That's not what I'm really talking about. I just think it's completely stupid how, like I've said multiple times, I just think it's retarded that Kerry King just won't tell Dave Lombardo to his face, or at least contact him, telling him that he's no longer in Slayer and that Paul Bostaff replaced him again. So, yeah, I just think Kerry King's a piece of shit for doing this. I really do. I've pretty much almost lost all of my respect for the man. I mean, I almost met the guy at Mayhem Fest last year, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because he comes off as a complete douche these days. I really hope he sees that people are very pissed about what he did. Not opposed to Paul Bostaff, but seriously, Kerry King, be a fucking man and tell them yourself. It's fucked up how Dave Lombardo had to find out online that he's no longer in Slayer and that you're too much of a coward to actually tell him. So, fuck you, Kerry King. Stop being a fucking pussy and just stop acting like a complete douchebag. Alright, I've gone on long enough on this video. I'm going to conclude this video right now. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you all for subscribing. I'll see you guys later. Peace out, and keep it metal.